a lot of people are doing what you like to refer to as the Pilates.
I believe that is how you pronounce it. Yeah, it's interesting because Pilates has become much more well-known, I feel like, in the last several years.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's misunderstood.
Yeah. I'd like to learn a little bit more about it because I've done yoga, and I like yoga a lot. But I want something to make me a little more steel-like.
I just want to be more like Jennifer Aniston.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
I want to go into 40. Like, I want to do Aniston 40.
Okay.
Not like normal people 40.
We should get someone in here to talk about that.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Please welcome the founder and director of Retrofit Pilates, Barbara Grant.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's nice to be here.
Now, I think the main thing about Pilates that I feel like, it seems like it is largely marketed towards women.
There is a kind of feeling, perception of Pilates that it's a bit girly.
Right.
And definitely there's lots of women that do Pilates. But in fact, it is, if you want to get steely, if you want to really get down and get strong, Pilates is going to do for you what all sorts of other types of exercise programs that men might more typically be drawn to, they don't give it quite the way that Pilates does. So Pilates, from a man's perspective, is a fantastic way to get fit, to tune up, and to really up your game.
So what is it about the way Pilates works the muscles that gives you that strength?
Well, it's really about the way Pilates layers your muscles, right? So we get into the deep postural support muscles, the endurance muscles, really fine-tuning them so that your power muscles can do what they need to do. So whether you're an athlete and you really need to hit that baseball or swing that golf club, you're using your muscles in the most efficient, effective way so that you're creating the most amount of power, generating the most amount of coordination. So it's really a high performance kind of workout. But it's a high performance kind of workout regardless of what your performance is. Like if you're sitting at a desk all day and you have to, be able to get through your day like that, it can enable you to do that. Or if you're out on the golf course or out on running a marathon, it's all about making your body work the best that it can possibly work.
Now, I have done Pilates before, but I have like a beginner's Pilates DVD.
Right.
And what I like about it is that basically the whole DVD you do lying down.
Right. So that's an idea that people have about Pilates, that you just go lie down on a mat, take a couple breaths, and it doesn't seem that challenging. And there's definitely breath work. There's definitely work doing lying down on a mat, but it ramps up quite significantly from there. There's all sorts of super cool machines that we use.
That's what I was going to ask you about, because I've
Yeah,
seen a lot of
yeah.
pictures of the machines.
Yeah, the machines are great, and they're very unique to Pilates. You'll find machines that maybe look a little bit like them, but they're specific Pilates machines that create a particular kind of resistance to focus and target particular muscle coordination. So when we're trying to get your deep core shoulder muscles to work, they're working. When we want your power muscles to work, they're working. And the whole time you're fighting against either moving parts or spring resistance that constantly challenges your balance. That's where you get this really killer core workout.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I need. I want a better core workout.
You want a better core workout. What does that mean to you?
I want a better, well, for one thing, my overall posture is weak, and I know part of that is because of my core.
Right. Absolutely. And that's sort of where Pilates can be geared or aimed for a lot of different needs. Like I was saying about a person who spends a great deal of time at their desk on all these devices that we have now. I mean, your posture is going to just get worse. And as our posture starts to fail us and the economy of our body is imperfect, our muscles can't really do what they need to do. So we go, play hockey on the weekend or go play soccer on the weekend, which we've been doing every weekend for the past, 15 years. And all of a sudden, it doesn't feel so great anymore. It's a lot harder to do it because our body's just not set up to to really maximize our strength and our activity level. So with Pilates Weekend, we work with people from a really rehab kind of based focus, people who are dealing with back pain, back injury, joint injury, hip replacement, joint replacement, that whole kind of place that people can find themselves in, all the way to elite athletes, because we are fine-tuning your body to do what you need to do best.
That's
You're both
War
so
took
excited.
a week off. Now we're both, we're fighting for question time. Me first. How long have you been teaching Pilates, and how did you get into it?
I've been teaching Pilates. I opened Retrofit Pilates in 1999. So
Wow.
it was one of the first Pilates studios in Toronto. And in my first career, I was a dancer. And it was really within the realm of dance that a lot of people got introduced to Pilates. That was just sort of as it was hitting 1999, it was starting to hit this wave of being a very big fitness trend. And it was a top fitness trend for years and years and years and years, which is great. But also, even after all this time, it's still a fairly not well understood
No, it's not.
fitness
Absolutely.
technique. People, when people come into the studio and see what Pilates is all about, or try it, or see the machinery and the equipment, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's not at all what I expected. I thought I was going to lie around on a mat and take some nice deep breaths,
Yeah.
exactly, and lift my legs up, and that if I don't have a strong enough." If I don't have strong abs to start with,
Yeah.
like we have this idea that it's all about abs, because it is about core, but your core is not just your abs.
Yeah.
And you have sort of core musculature in all your joints. You have core musculature that holds your shoulder together, that holds your hip together, that makes your knee work the way it wants to work. And we focus on all of that, working it efficiently, preventing injury, making the body hum like a well-oiled machine.
I want good posture, tight stomach, and a firm ass.
You can get that.
That's what I want.
You can get that.
Because all the weight training and everything like that, it's done some of that, but not enough.
Yeah, because
And also, I hate to say it, people never say this, but I'm going to be one of the guys that says it. After 12 years of lifting weights and working out well and being fit and everything like that, I'm getting bored.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I know friends of mine that have been bodybuilding for 30 years, and I go, it does actually get boring. After a while, I go, I'm going to the gym again this week to do these exercises I've been doing for 12 years or something.
And Pilates never gets boring because the repertoire of exercises and the repertoire of machines and the variations of exercises is huge. So at Retrofit, we have so many classes aimed at so many different levels of workout, from like hardcore power workouts to restorative workouts. And you could go to any one of those workouts and get something new every single time because it's a huge repertoire.
What does restorative workout mean?
A restorative workout is a workout that is mostly focused on bringing the body into a better balance, which sounds a little la 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 la, but in fact, it's about balancing the muscular activity at your joints. So often the reason we have, at a certain age, not you guys for sure, we start realizing our butts aren't quite as perky as they used to be.
My greatest fear.
And part of that is the fact that we're not using our buttocks muscles the way we need to, and enough of it. But it's also because we've been sitting all day long. And so our hip muscles, the fronts of our hips, are kind of pulling the load around. So there's a really big imbalance. So we end up with really tight hips and really maybe a little bit of sagging bottom. We don't have the power in our buttocks that we really need. That's a big reason why we got a lot of knee pain, is because we don't have the power in our buttocks that we really need. So restorative Pilates is just going to maybe focus things a little more quietly, a little bit more slowly, so that you can really fire up the muscles that need to balance the strength and mobility in the joints. It's applying the Pilates principles on a really base level.
Okay, now I'm scared because
Don't be scared.
But no, here's why. My right hip, I found, especially like I mildly injured it when I was in high school. And so frequently it'll go through phases where it tightens up. But in the last few months, I've had a lot of hip pain. Does that mean my butt is lowering?
Well,
Should I be focusing on this right now? Because I don't want to brag. I have an amazing butt, and I want to keep it that way forever.
Right. Well, and you can, but
But start
The-
today.
Well, yeah. The sad fact of the matter is, the older we get, the harder it gets, right?
Right.
And also because we become a little bit less active with each year.
Right.
Our priorities in life change, and maybe we don't have as much time to be as active, even if we're trying to stay really active. So you have to work a little harder on it. You have to work a little harder on an exercise program like Pilates that really focuses what your needs are. And if sort of across the board, unless you're, in an accident or have a traumatic injury, most of the injuries that we experience in our hip or our back or our shoulder are a result of unbalanced activity at the joint. One muscle group is working a lot harder. The other muscle group just stepped out for a coffee about 7 years ago.
Right.
It's interesting you say that. And we're speaking to Barbara Grant. She's the founder and director of Retrofit Pilates. I have a tilted pelvis.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that. I went to a physical therapist who caught it. And I didn't realize I had that. And I had it from being a comedian, spending years in my car living on the road.
Absolutely.
The way I was sitting in my car, I tilted. So I had to work on that. I still have to work on it from time to time. It pops back in and it goes back and forth. I have to do certain stretches in order to get it to correct itself. Could Pilates help something like that?
Absolutely. We all have those sorts of imbalances in our body for whatever reason, for sitting in your car for a long, long time, holding one baby on your hip for a long, long time, throwing pitches every single night for a long, long time. Pilates, that is the sort of essence of what Pilates does. It balances the workload in the body and around the joints. And it's not just about stretching the muscle that's overworked. It's about waking up and firing up the muscles that need to balance the overworked muscle. Because those muscles our bodies adapt to whatever we ask them to do. And if we don't ask those muscles to do anything, they adapt by losing nerve power and just kind of revving right down. So Pilates can absolutely help any kind of tilted pelvis, any kind of structural, mechanical anomaly or imbalances in your body. That's where you're really going to see Pilates really give you that balance, bring your body into better balance. And again, that can go from a very restorative, rehabilitative type of environment to all the way to a real high performance situation where you're really demanding, Olympic style strength and capacity in your body.
Okay. Let me ask you this. And this I'm really curious about for myself. My co-host here knows that I have issues dealing with stress.
Right.
Okay.
We all do.
Understatement.
Yes.
Now Pilates, which is named after Joseph Pilates.
Yes.
Now I've been dealing with my stress with Beam, named after Jim Beam.
Right.
Is there something?
Can he drink on the Pilates machines? That is what his
only
question
if
is.
you have really good balance.
Yeah. I'm looking for things to do to help me calm my mind.
Right.
Okay. And a lot of things I try, they work only so much. I can only turn off my brain so much.
Right. I
want to be fit. I want to be active, but I need to relax.
Right. Well, the difference with Pilates is you can't go into it sort of mindlessly. Like you can get on the treadmill, put your headphones in or watch TV and just run, and you can do all sorts of workouts without paying very much attention. With Pilates, the demands of focus, concentration, precision, plus the ever-changing exercises that we're giving you, they make you think. You have to think all the time. And it's the absolute opposite of just turning your brain off. But because you're so focused on this element, it's that focus that shuts out all the other noise that's in your head. And it's just drawing, it's like a movement meditation in a way. It's just drawing your focus into what your body's doing, how you're breathing, what you're asking your body to do. That's where a lot of the stress relief comes from. Learning how to breathe, learning how to let go of muscles that are that you're holding so much tension in. And you think, well, that's just simple. I'm going to tell my body to let go of that tension. But it is if your body thinks those muscles need to be active, they will keep them active all the time. And as your body starts to release some of that tension, that funnels through the whole, nervous system. But it's a very mechanical, physical action. You're creating less stress in the body by creating more focus in the brain. And with more focus in the brain, you are literally teaching some of your overworked muscles and those guys that are just in fight or flight mode all the time to just chill out. And that makes a huge difference.
And it's one thing to, yes, tell I'm tense, this muscle needs to relax. I find I carry tension in my shoulders, so a lot of times I find my shoulders are up and I'll go, oh man, I need to push my shoulders down. And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh, they're back up. Because you don't notice. You've trained your body to hold your stress.
Exactly.
You have to train it now to let it go.
Exactly. And that's a big part of what we do with Pilates inherent in the workout. So even if you are doing a really hardcore workout or something where you really want, because like I said, people often think, well, Pilates is kind of easy. It's kind of not so challenging of a workout. And it can be a not challenging workout. It can be whatever you need it to be. But throughout it, you are retraining your body so that those tense muscles, they don't have to work all the time. That's part of the reason why we're so tired.
Yeah.
Because these muscles are just turned on in this hypertense physical environment. And you can't decrease tension by creating tension somewhere else in your body. So you can't say, well, I'm going to push my shoulders down. You just have to tell those particular shoulder muscles or neck muscles to stop working. And that's a process that takes practice.
Do you find you have a lot of converts from men that come in, or especially athletes that come in going I'll try this thing, and then become committed? We
do have a lot of converts. We have at Retrofit Pilates, we have clients that have been with us since 1999.
Wow.
A lot of them. And often, or not often, but sometimes clients will come to us because their wives send them.
Right.
And they're skeptical. And they stick with it. And they're with it 5, 10, 15, almost 20 years later, some of them. A lot of people come to us because they're either in an injury situation where they've got a knee problem, a back problem, a shoulder problem, and they work through that problem resolves, and then they continue to work with Pilates to keep their fitness level and their activity level up. So people sort of, once you convert, once you feel the benefit of Pilates, it's something that's going to stay with you.
And Pilates is low impact, right?
It is low impact. Yes, it is low impact. Pilates is low impact in that we're not jumping around a lot. And there's a lot of control in all the activity.
Right.
But low impact does not mean low energy.
Right.
And there's still a lot of exercises where you're standing and you're always working against your own body weight. So it's like weight training in that way. It's resistance training.
Right. But the likelihood of you falling off your step.
Yeah, no, or
ripping your ACL.
Right, or twist. No, exactly. Exactly. And we're not going to do that not just because of the exercise repertoire that we're asking you to do, but because of the amount of focus that we've put into the alignment of your knee so that your ACL is not under this kind of strain that it can't withstand.
Now, you just did a man up thing on the 20th.
Yes, we did.
Tell us about that, and if you're going to do it again.
Well, we have lots of men that come to Retrofit Pilates, and we're always encouraging more men to come. But sometimes I think men feel, maybe they feel a little intimidated walking into, it's a studio, it's not a gym. It's full of women. It's got a different vibe than you're going to get it's a different vibe than a yoga studio, and it's definitely a different vibe than a gym. And, lot of people feel intimidated by exercise, especially by trying something new. And they're thinking, oh, I'm not flexible enough, and they're going to make me do all these crazy things. So in something like Man Up Retrofit, that was just an opportunity to really focus the work in a more guy-oriented environment. So it's just men in the room. The trainer that was teaching them that day, she can work with anyone. And she really put them through a pace where they got to try a lot of different pieces of equipment, and they got to see what Pilates can be along its whole kind of scope, from, again, stuff that's more balancing, postural related, to stuff where they're really feeling a lot of burn and work in their big power muscles. So it was a lot of fun. We had a great time.
I want to do it.
You should. Absolutely.
I want to do it.
Okay.
We'll throw you on the reformer, maybe the rack.
I'm already partnered with one.
But you got a really like serious little kid face when you say, I want to do it. Like,
I've thought
Barbara
about,
and I are not telling you you're not allowed to do it. You can do it whenever you want.
I've thought about before, and I don't know a lot about it, but I like the idea of strengthening my core and things like this. And yeah, I like to stay active and I like to work out, but I go through phases where I get bored.
Yeah, and it's always great to try something new. And we can talk about Pilates till the cows come home. You really have to experience it. You have to feel it in your body. You have to see what it can do for you.
Where can people find out more about you?
Retrofit.ca.
Okay.
We are in Bloor West Village in Toronto.
I am actually on your website right now as we speak, retrofit.ca. And I like your website too. You have classes for moms and babies.
Aww.
Yes, we do.
That's good. All my friends are having babies.
Yeah.
And that's their choice.
Yes. Yeah. and that's often when women start to see, both with the demands of motherhood and the changes their body has experienced in pregnancy, they start realizing that, maybe I need to, if I want to try and carry this kid around, I better maybe try and do something. Yeah.
Well, and then it's hard to, like, I think it's really great when places have classes where you can bring your baby.
Exactly.
Or any event where people can bring their babies, because it's hard.
Yeah, exactly. At Retrofit, we strive to create a community that anyone can enter into. We have our Mums and Babes classes. We have Pilates for young athletes. We have Pilates for active living. We have clients well into their 80s. We have the whole realm of it. You have different needs at different points in your life and at different sort of levels of fitness or activity that you're experiencing. And at Retrofit Pilates, we know the Pilates technique can be applied to all of that, and that's what we strive to do.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Well,
It's
thanks.
really good stuff.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Ward, you will go and report back.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.